Hello once again, Spartans, and welcome back to your Halo World Championships 2024. Now, you might notice that I do have three very special new additions to my desk, and I'm very happy about it. I have Pierre, the studio head, Chris, the studio art director, and Brian, our community director. Gentlemen, although I love having you on the desk, I'm a little bit confused right now because, Pierre, what on earth are you doing here? We haven't seen your face before. You're doing a debut, a reveal, so it has to mean something.
So let me start with the good news. Thank you for having us, by the way.
Of course.
Yeah, it's not going to be a game announcement.
Okay.
But I think it is important that things which are pertaining to the studio, that I have a chance to really talk about this, and this is an opportunity for me to actually do this. But I'm the side story here. I think the team was really hard at work for the last 2 years, and you want to touch a little bit on what we have done and how we built the foundation, but I think Chris can talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, that's right, Pierre. We are extremely proud of the team of 343 and what they've been doing in Unreal 5.
I'm very excited to find out what this could possibly be. Brian, do you have any more insight for us?
Well, I can do better than that. Let's just roll the video.
Well,
okay.
Woo!
Chris Matthews, take one. Mark.
This is Casey Wu, take one. Mark.
I was told that I can just be my authentic self, Chris.
For 6 years, I don't want to be in front of a camera.
There's so much to do and so much fun to be had when you play Halo that I feel like I never run out of things to do.
I love intricate stories that take place across lots of different worlds, have lots of different meaningful characters.
What made Halo successful at the beginning? What is the legacy of Halo, and what's the soul that we want to bring forward, and what's the craft of making Halo games, and how do we set our studio at best to go deliver on that?
We knew we had to make a change in order to take us into the future.
When I first heard about Halo moving on Unreal Engine, my first thought was, this is going to be a really hard secret to keep.
I think fans are going to be excited about the future of Halo because of the possibilities that are afforded us by using Unreal.
Before, we really had to split our focus in thinking about building an engine, supporting it, being really kind of a tech company and a studio at the same time. Since we've made the change to shift to UE, we can bring Halo forward in ways that people have never seen before while still being true to what Halo is.
The Foundry project was an effort to show ourselves how far we can push things using Unreal 5.
New studio art director, Chris, came to me and said, hey, I have this crazy idea.
He said, hey, there's this thing called Project Foundry that I want to do. Let's make it happen.
Foundry specifically is based around the same concept of the Foundry in Halo lore. It's the place where Halo rings are born. It's not a game, it's a research project for our studio so we can prepare ourselves for the next steps of making Halo games.
The original Halo franchise was a graphics showcase. It was best in class. That's what Halo was when it first was released, and that's what Halo needs to be again.
So once Project Foundry had been approved, we took the entire creative team and we ideated on 3 locations, something old, something new, and something really alien.
We had the Pacific Northwest, which is sort of traditional Halo biome.
We were trying to shove as much foliage in there as humanly possible to make it really feel like you're on a hike in the, Cascades.
The Cold Lands, which was the second biome that we took on, it was more of a technical showcase where we could play with shaders, we could play with deformable landscapes and terrains. Unreal affords us more opportunity than we've ever had in the past.
On the surface, it might just look all like snow, but how many layers of things combine to really give that winter look?
And then our third biome was the Blightlands, which is any land that's been completely taken over by the flood.
I wanted to give our team the opportunity to really express an alien world, a really alien world, taking something way further than they may have actually done in previous Halo games.
What's impressed me about watching the Halo team work in Unreal is how beautiful everything looks, how incredible the environments look. I don't think we've seen anything quite like it in Unreal Engine before.
fortunately, we have a studio that's really passionate about Halo, about the look and the feel, and I think there's a lot of hunger to really collaborate, to move forward together.
Foundry was an initiative that touched on every part of the creative process, everything from concept art, VFX, characters, vehicles, and weapons to make the future games of Halo.
Creating an asset, taking this design, now we can really dig into material foundations. What is it actually made of? How is it physically accurate to the world? Now we get to take all the wonderful legacy assets that we have, bring them to life, and bring them to today's standards.
We are really excited to be not just working on multiple projects, but also expanding our studio.
As a lifelong Halo player, I think the game's only going to get better when we get those new, unique perspectives and people bring in their expertise and passion for the Halo franchise.
We are looking for new talent as the projects that we're working on kind of get further and further into their development cycles.
And it is great to be part of a team that's growing because you can kind of see that force multiplied as people come in and take on challenges and you can do more.
Imagine a place where you have the commitment that this is what we want to do, Halo games, and create those experiences. And you can express your talent, your creativity, and your professional ambitions in that place.
We're looking for designers, we're looking for artists, we're looking for engineers.
It feels like a new beginning for the studio in a lot of ways, and I think that's pretty rare.
And I think we arrived now at a point where you see the beginnings of people to start to believe in the process.
There's so much momentum that we have right now and focus and clarity on not just what we're building, but why we're building and kind of this next phase of Halo.
The worlds that we're building, the stories that we're going after.
The potential at Halo right now is huge.
Halo Infinite was the last remnants of how we made Halo games in the past. That was our recipe. And what we are doing right now, we're changing that recipe.
Sufficient body chills have been in effect for sure. I'm sure in the whole of this room going crazy during that. Folks at home, it was electric in here, rightfully so. Pierre, that final screen, Halo Studios, is this a rebrand?
I would rather talk about chapters. So I'm very much aware that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. We had the first chapter, which was Bungie, the second chapter, which is 343, and I think what you see is the beginning of our chapter, which is the Halo Studios chapter. But from my perspective, I think it is just an immense honor for me to be able to carry that torch and continue being representative for this amazing, amazing franchise.
Pierre, there have been few studios who have produced this legendary title. How do you see this change adding to that legacy?
I think what we've started with, specifically Halo Infinite, was a path of trying to be more frequent where our players are expecting us to be, and more importantly, where we expect them to play in the future. So that means that's a perfect moment to transition onto Unreal, and the rebranding of the studio is a perfect moment for us to start that chapter, and I think everyone is very, very excited about it, and I think what we just showed gives you an insight of where our heads are.
Let's get back to what we just saw, because there's so much to unpack here. Brian, first and foremost, Unreal? Oh my goodness. Okay, so many questions. The implications, how does this work? What does it do for Halo now?
Well, I mean, on one hand, Lottie, it's not our first time doing a little dance with Unreal. We actually have a little bit Unreal that kind of crept into MCC back in the day. I've been around Halo for a long time. I think from my perspective, what's most exciting is really unleashing the team to just be creatives, crafting experiences, and not having to be a tech company anymore, frankly.
Wow, okay, some big words that, and talking about creatives and empowering creatives, what does that do for you, Chris, and your team?
Yeah, well, obviously Unreal is an incredible tool in its own right, but for us, it's way more than that. It's about how we're working and about how we're projecting the future of making Halo games.
Chris, Project Foundry, something that we just saw in this video moments ago, what is it, why?
Well, it's a test bed that we put together so our own creatives could see what they could do when they were kind of unhindered by using a proprietary game engine and see what they could do in Unreal 5.
And what was expected coming out of Foundry, Brian? You know, was this something that you guys wanted to work on further? You know, how did you envision it?
Well, I mean, it was initially an internal-only facing project, right? But of course, I mean, I got to give the community what they want. People are hungry; they're a little thirsty out there. They want to see what the studio's been cooking. So, super excited to share a little bit of a look behind the curtain at what the team's been doing.
Now, this looks like the most exciting time in the studio, Pierre. You know, what's the mood like right now in the camp?
Hopefully, I can transmit somewhat of the excitement we have. I think the team's starting to believe in the process which we established over the last 2 years. I had a conversation the other day with one of my former bosses, and he described the situation as Pierre and the studio is pouring the foundation. That's exactly what we're doing, and now the next step is building on that foundation. It's an amazing, exciting time, but the studio is growing, and the team needs to grow because there are some things which I think I'm not going to talk about. I think I'll let you talk about.
Yeah, team is growing, guys. What does that mean?
Well, we have multiple projects in development, as we've been saying, right? So as we heard on the video, we're looking for a little bit of everything. We got job openings right now. We got more to come, but this is kind of us letting the industry know. We changed the recipe, as Pierre said. We're looking for people that are passionate about Halo to join us in this next chapter.
That's right. We have multiple titles in development. There's a huge amount of momentum, and we are very excited.
I think everyone else is too, Chris. They are unbelievably excited. When might we hear more about these projects?
Well, I'll just give the old classic line, they're ready when they're ready. You know, we want to let the team have some time to kind of keep cooking. I do just want to kind of remind folks, though, still lots of cool things on the horizon for Halo Infinite. Our next operation, Halloween, is just a few days away. That's going to be a fun Halloween-themed. That'll be really kind of featuring the return of Survive the Undead. We got an infection update coming. And then later on in November, we have the winter update that'll have a couple new surprises, including third-person firefight. We're excited to bring a new way to play to Halo Infinite.
Love that so much. Now, as we bring this chapter to a close and start a new one, Chris, how excited is the team to continue what they've been building behind the scenes here?
Oh, incredibly. Project Foundry was never actually meant to be public-facing, but like Brian said, we really wanted to give the community a bit of a glance of what we're doing behind the curtains. But it's been a really, really busy time. We're super eager to be growing the studio, and I just want to take a moment actually to thank the team back at Halo for really committing to this work. It's huge for us. Yeah.
It certainly is indeed. Pierre, finally. Is there anything that you would like to say to the community before we don't see you for another 3 years?
I like the 3 years idea, simply because this is not my world, this is their world. No, but I really wanted to point out what an amazing event, how everyone showed up and supports Halo still. This is, for me, every single year, humbling for me to see that. I'm amazingly grateful for that. The key really is there's going to be an HCS next year, so again, something to look forward to. But I think the key, which I really wanted to land, was thank you to the fans. Thank you for the people who give us the opportunity to express ourselves. Thank you to the studio. And I'm looking forward to have a great future with everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Lastly, gents, are you ready for this grand finals of another Halo World Championship?
Heck yeah.
All right, we'll have to get it started. Pierre, Chris, Brian, thank you so very much for that incredibly exciting update. Folks, I hope you are thoroughly entertained. I certainly am indeed. So much to look forward to. The future is awfully bright here for Halo. We're going to head to a quick break right now, but when we come back, you know what it is. It's grand finals time, baby, and we're getting that stage ready to go. Green, gold, Optic versus Space Station coming your way right after this.